Knowledge is power. Make an impact by learning more. Call us right now for more help at 866-945-8070. The recording here and start going live on Facebook.
Sounds good.
Live on Facebook. Yeah. TSheets by QuickBooks with Jessica Greene.
No, it's all new. New company name, new last name.
I know, that's right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
What was your maiden name?
Knuth.
Oh.
So this one's much easier, except for it is Green with an E at the end, so you have to clarify that. But Knuth is like every letter that sounds like another letter over the phone. So like K and N, and they all sound like other letters, so it's always difficult.
Making sure I share to the right page.
Jessica, I can't help but ask about this saw hanging on the wall behind
Oh, yes. I know. It's so funny. I didn't know that you could see it so well, but I had somebody mention that yesterday, too. So I just got married, like Seth mentioned, in December, and our wedding was kind of like a woodsy theme. And so somebody made a saw and wrote one of the lyrics to our first dance on it. So it's, yeah. So it's not as menacing as it looks.
All right, I got the live feed going on Facebook. I'm going to post in the group.
Awesome.
And then we're going to get started officially.
Sounds good.
Officially. You know why I never had trouble with your maiden name, Jessica, is there's a brand out here called Knudsen. Knudsen. So I was already kind of used to that whole KN thing at the beginning.
I know. Yeah, you wouldn't think you'd say the K in the end, but you do. You sure do.
You know what? We have way too many Jessicas apparently in the Facebook group. I'm trying to tag you. Before I tagged you with the name Jacqueline because you have that, and that's actually what I'm going to get you with.
Yeah, no, it's helpful, right? Find the full name. There's a lot of Jessicas in the world.
TSheets by QuickBooks and paste the live feed into the group and post, and I'm recording. And we are live. Good morning. Happy Friday. Flex your muscles. It's March 23rd, 2018. We're going to probably flex more brain muscles than we are physical muscles this morning, but nothing wrong with getting up and doing a little stretch. I'm going to let a few more people into the panel here who have just joined. And Jessica, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Seth?
Absolutely fantastic. Life couldn't possibly be better.
Always good to hear.
So how's life at TSheets now that TSheets is now TSheets by QuickBooks?
Yeah, it's really good. We've just have so many more people to network with and bounce ideas off of. I was just in Mountain View actually earlier this week, so I got to meet a lot of people who are doing similar things to me at TSheets, but at Intuit. So many more people to network with and talk with. It's been a really cool transition.
That's awesome. So let's back up to December of last year. How did you learn that TSheets was being acquired or now had been acquired by Intuit? And how did you react?
Yeah, so we have a staff meeting every other Thursday at TSheets, but they moved it up to a Monday, which I did think was a little odd. And we had just had our Christmas party that Friday before. So I thought maybe we were just going to, talk about the Christmas party and do like updates for December since a lot of people might be out of the office. And then I noticed that there were some people at the meeting that I didn't recognize. And Matt seemed, a little nervous, and I was like, what's going on? And then as soon as they said it, at first you're like, well, I hope this is a good thing for me and my coworkers and my family. But right away they told us everyone gets their job. That was part of the terms of the agreement. So everyone keeps their job. Everyone keeps their same everything. It's just, basically just partnering up with a company that makes a lot of sense. So after that kind of shock wore off and realizing I didn't have to panic and find a new job 2 weeks before my wedding, I was really excited just because I've visited the Intuit offices a lot just in my time with TSheets. So I've met so many great people. So I was really excited. And then, they told us the day before they actually announced it live, which I thought was great. We didn't have to wake up and hear it on the news. They told us we had to sign a can't say anything for 24 hours. And then it was live and we were able to talk about it with everybody. So
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
that's great. They put your minds at ease right away and let you
They
know.
did.
Everything's
Yeah, it was
gonna
really
be
nice.
fine. You're going to move right along with us. And
Yep.
now the only difference is we have this amazing partner who can really help us do even more amazing things.
Exactly.
So now that we're, like 4 months in,
Mhm.
what can you tell us? I'm sure there's a lot you can't tell us, but what can you tell us about what is now on the roadmap that may be resulting specifically from this new?
Yeah. It's so hard to actually even say because there's so many things happening all at once. I know that we're partnering up with the Intuit Pro Advisor program. So really trying to work with them, getting our certification with theirs to see if we can just make that all one big certification where being a TSheets Pro gives you extra points or extra benefit for being an Intuit Pro. So really just trying to get our worlds together. So that's one big thing that I'm working on with Misty. And then we've just been able to meet so many more teams. We were really integrated with the QuickBooks Online team, although we've always had a really strong QuickBooks desktop integration. But now we're finally able to meet that desktop team, which has been awesome. So being able to meet the people working on that and kind of see where we can connect even more. And then the self-employed group. So the people that are working with all the self-employed products, which are similar products, but with that particular customer in mind, they're a fun group. So just kind of meeting more people than we even knew. I think we thought we kind of knew, and now we're like, oh, there's so many more people out there and people working on projects. So that's definitely a few of the ones that stick out.
Right. Okay. So that's kind of big news on the Pro Advisor program. I mean, you guys before this had your own kind of Pro Advisor thing, and I've known obviously because I've been kind of hanging out with you guys since about day one. I remember when we created the TSheets Pro forum on Facebook.
Yes.
And I sort of worked with you guys to help. I think I suggested actually creating a group and saying, let's do this. So that's great that they're kind of bringing that sort of expertise of yours along into the new, I don't know, what do we call it? A partnership, a merger? I guess it's a merger because they.
Yeah, it's a merger acquisition, but it really feels like we're still kind of running our own thing. There haven't been a lot of big changes that way. And so it kind of feels like we're still just partnering together. But now it's nice since we are one company. It's wherever it makes sense. It's pretty easy to make that partnership happen and to move it along. So just being able to find all the spots where it makes sense for us to be and for us to be partnering with them, with people into it, and then just moving forward. So it's been great.
Now, I recently got an invite to this thing. It was called TSheets Tribe.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because it looks really cool. I'll be honest, I haven't had a whole lot of time. I got in, I did some challenges, I got some points, but that's as far as I got with it, because then I was like, all right, I have a lot of work to do. I'll have to come back. But I get the emails now from Misty and, letting me know there's a challenge. So tell me what's going on with TSheets Tribe.
Yeah, so the TSheets Tribe is a newer thing that Misty rolled out probably late last year. And it's been such a great opportunity for us. So it's really a place where all of our most engaged accountant partners, our pros, can come together, network with each other, and then also recommend other accounting professionals to us. So previously, as I'm sure everyone on here knows, we do have a pro program where you can refer your clients to us, and TSheets product, it's obviously great if you want to track your own time as an accountant, but a lot of accountants don't track their own time. So it's more the get comfortable with us, learn our product so that your clients can use it. But there really wasn't an easy way to refer other accountants to us. So this is a really fun way to kind of just grow our network, expand our tribe, as we're calling it, let people network. If there's anything from fun contests, just kind of fun social contests to educational contests. And then obviously expanding the network too. So I know we recently did a St. Patrick's Day one. So the St. Patrick's Day contest, Alex, who works on our social engagement, she's awesome. She kind of put together this contest of following the pot of gold to lead to more referrals. But then she had fun stuff like wear red and green in a picture. So it's kind of just a mix of a bunch of stuff to hopefully give our accountants a little something different than just phone calls and, asking for client referrals. There's a lot of professionals out there that we partner with that are like, I'd love to refer you, but I have more of a network of accountants and I do have clients that I work with. I'm a consultant to accountants. How do I refer you? So that's kind of the solve for this. Yeah.
Gotcha. I love it. So people are already asking if we can put a link for TSheets Tribe in the chat. And of course, if you send it to me, I will make sure it's included when I post this recording on the website.
Perfect.
And if anybody else, while we're talking, has it, Mariette's usually the best for this. Mariette's here with us. Hi, Mariette. Usually she's I don't even have to ask. Usually she's just right on it, posting links in the chat. So Mariette, if you are able, if you have the link, let's do it.
You know what? It's a little difficult today because
Very-
that's what I have.
She's a
Oh.
little busy. We have James. Hi, James.
James is here. Nanny needed a couple days off, so mommy needs to handle things. So here I am.
That's
So say hi,
awesome.
James. So I'll do my best.
All
No,
right.
I can figure it out too. I think it's actually an invitation, so I might have to actually
you
grab
can-
everybody's
okay.
names and then send an invitation to everybody. But we'll get you. We'll get you there. We want to grow our network for sure. So
Okay.
Jessica, I had a quick question though.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear when you were saying you're working with the self-employed team. So I've always tried to figure out like what is the best solution, or how do we work out like a real nice kind of like I call it like an app marriage, or and like what is that app stack for that solopreneur? So how do you guys take it, especially if you're working with the self-employed team? I'm sure you're probably having to think that through a little bit more now.
Yeah, and it's brand new, so I don't know that I have a ton of insight yet. I'm just kind of getting our feet on the ground and meeting people, but really it's that we found that it's a lot of really creative types internally into it, really creative people who are looking for ways to make small business owners and self-employed people's lives easier. So I don't know that I actually have a recommendation, to be honest. I'll have to kind of see how it unfolds and as we get to know more, but definitely we'll keep you guys posted because we want to get involved with that. And I know that they can't just operate on one app, right? They need a few things to keep themselves sane and going. So I'll definitely let you guys know when I figure that out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And by the way, this is not the Seth and Jacqueline or Jessica show.
Oh, yeah.
So anybody else who has any questions, want to know what's going on, have a specific question about a specific integration, this is an amazing opportunity to get those questions answered. So don't just cut me off, because otherwise I'll talk in a single breath for 1 hour. I can do that. That's my superpower, right? I can talk for a whole hour. I can talk for a whole hour on a single breath. By the way, Alex Miles, thank you, says she's going to send me a link, an invite.
Oh, perfect.
That I can share.
Thanks, Alex.
I didn't understand that was an invite thing, but I guess everybody's invited now.
Oh, yeah, everyone's invited. I just think that's how you get.
I invite everyone to crash the TSheets party.
Yes, exactly. That's how it works.
So are we still going to have TSheets parties at conferences?
Oh, yes, absolutely. That
Oh,
is.
we got even bigger ones now.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a lot more power behind us than we did before. So, yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
that was
Scaling new heights?
terms. What's up? Sorry.
Are you going to Scaling New Heights?
We are. Yep, we are committed. We, it's been interesting to kind of watch that all unfold. And at first, we weren't sure where it was going to be, and so that was we were unsure. But I mean, at the end of the day, TSheets, we love accountants, and if accountants are going to be there, we want to be where you guys are. And there's still people. I know there's so many people who already have tickets, already have hotel rooms. So if our accountant community is committed, we're committed, and Intuit's committed. So we're going to definitely be there and be making the absolute most of it, making sure it's just as fun as it's always been. So
I'm curious, like if such a thing even exists, what would be like the next big TSheets integration, or what would be the next thing TSheets would want to do integration-wise?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, QuickBooks Online is growing so much in terms of the product offering itself and kind of expanding there. I love our Expensify integration, being able to attach an expense to a timesheet. So I'd love to have that fleshed out even more, where like in an easy report, you could see, this is when I clocked in as a self-employed person, actually, like this is when I clocked in, here's all the expenses, and then being able to create an invoice like live on the site. I think that would be amazing to like be doing your landscaping, for example, go up to your customer at the end of your job and say, okay, here's all my expenses. I've already attached them to my timesheet. My timesheet's already in QuickBooks. Here's your invoice, pay it, and then you leave paid. So that's just my brain kind of going
Right.
like on a tangent, but our Expensify integration is already a cool one. I think if we could just build that out even more, and then we have really great scheduling features, and we're working on expanding those as well. So probably just the more scheduling kind of add-ons and integrations we could do to make that even easier for people to use.
I'm sorry, Alexa Gregory is asking, any more progress on job costing?
That was what I was about to ask.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And that's comes up in every meeting I'm in. I'm not on that team, so I'm not quite sure where the progress is, but every staff meeting I'm in or every update meeting I'm in, it's, we've talked to so-and-so about job costing. We're working on job costing. So I think the ball is rolling and things are moving. I think we're able to really highlight that need for everybody. I think that us kind of coming on and saying, hey, we're hearing this too, has been really helpful. So it sounds positive. I'm not quite sure when or how, but every meeting I'm in, it seems like that's one of the hot topics. So
now, in the meantime, I wonder, I meant to check and I forgot to, is TSheets integrated on Zapier?
Good question. So we just did a report on, what is that called? So a portion of our marketing team did like a case study or a research study on why that would be a good fit. So I don't know where that's sitting right now, but I know that there's progress being made on that, and that was something we were looking into doing. So that's all I know for sure on that one. Kind of doing some research.
Can you pass a message along to that team for me?
Yes.
Honestly, why it would be a great fit. Because going back to the job costing question, in the meantime, if TSheets were integrated with Zapier, I could create a Zap that could take data, put it into, let's say, Smartsheet or Airtable, do the job costing, and then import that into.
Oh.
So in other words,
Awesome.
I can make my own job costing template for using a Zap that would solve for that in the meantime until you guys roll out a direct job costing.
That's great. Yeah, I'll definitely take that feedback to the team.
Yeah, that would be cool. I just did my best Beavis and Butthead.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. So, all right, let's go back to, I don't know what we're going back to. Does anybody else have any questions? No?
I have a question.
Go
This
for
is
it.
Mariette again. So I've been wondering, because I've been getting the T-sheet emails. I love them, especially the tribe ones. So you guys will love the tribe ones. But I've been getting the same two, like every few days, telling me to do either the T-sheets Pro Elite or the T-sheets Fundamental. I guess they're both certifications.
Mhm.
What's the difference between these two?
Yeah.
Or
So
what other kind of certifications, I guess? But I feel like I'm always getting certification emails. So I just kind of want to know what they are and what the differences are.
it's good to know. Yeah, we don't want to inundate your inbox, especially right now. But so I'll take that away. But so the fundamentals it's kind of like a crash course in T-sheets, but kind of high level, like just get your feet wet, kick the tires a little bit of everything, so that you could walk away saying, I understand T-sheets, I could recommend T-sheets, I feel comfortable using it. And then the elite, there's a few different ones. There's one that really dives into our integrations, so all of the different integrations we have. There's one that dives into more of like sales, kind of like T-sheets and how to kind of message it and different features for different industries, and what features might stick out to those industries. And then the elite one just dives even further into different reports and things that we just don't have time to cover in an hour on the fundamentals. So it dives into more of our reports, more of our scheduling, just a lot of those things that are more technical, so that if you really are technically minded, want to know the ins and outs of the product before you refer it, you'd want to do the fundamentals just to get a basic understanding, and then the elite certification to really, get in there and get your hands dirty and see how all the reports work.
So there's two then. There's only two right now?
There's three. So there's three
Okay.
levels, and the third one so there's an elite one, a tech one, and the fundamentals.
Got it.
Yep.
Awesome. Now, is there a deadline? Because I'm sure it's the whole kind of like, get it done now, because it always says like the deadline is 2 days from the time I get the email. I'm like, oh my God, I better hurry up. But that's just the point, right? To just get us to do it. Or is there really a deadline?
So I think with the first one, you attend the webinar online, and then you take a test in Litmus, is the platform we're using for testing. And I believe there is a window that you have to do the test in within taking the webinar, but I'm sure that's one of those things that if you were like, I missed my deadline, we would just extend it. I don't think it goes away and you have to redo the webinar, from what I understand. And then the other ones, I actually don't think there's a deadline, because they're just if you want to do them. So they're on a, as kind of, it's like a choose your own adventure type thing. So there's no like webinar to watch for that one and then taking the test. There's recordings. So that's kind of an at your leisure type situation for the additional tiers. But I think the first one I get, because I'm signed up too, I just signed up and took the webinar as sort of an outsider to see what it was like. And I'm getting emails, probably once or twice a week, reminding me that I've got so many days left to take my test. So I think that's real, but it's probably one of those easy things to get, get that waived so that you can actually make sure you get the test taken.
And I mean,
Perfect. Thank you.
I have a feeling some people are wondering this. I know I would be if I didn't know more than I do about TSheets. But what is there to know that one gets certified in with regards to TSheets? I mean, it seems like it should be very simple, right? Like just maybe the setup, settings and things. I know that if, like, for example, being in California, I know that there's a lot of California laws that there are settings specifically for in TSheets because there are overtime rules and those kinds of things. But is it mostly about knowing how to get TSheets set up? Because then my other question there, and I know this is going to be a very loaded question, but like one of the reasons I have always loved referring people to TSheets is I don't have to worry about any of that as a pro. I just send them to you guys and they get implemented by you guys, and your team is amazing about that. You guys I always say this, you guys make me look good to my clients, right? So why does one, I mean, let's just play devil's advocate for a second. Why does one get certified in TSheets?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. No, it is. So, Seth, a lot of people aren't like you, as I'm sure you know. You're unique, but a lot of accountants really want to understand a product before they certify in it. So, even though you're absolutely right, we have an amazing team that onboards all of our clients. It's totally free of charge. So, all you have to do, honestly, is call and say, "Hey, I've got this client. This is what they do. Here's an introduction," or here's their phone number. You can call them. I told them you're calling, and get them set up. That's all you have to do, and we will take care of all of it. We don't mind that at all. But there are a lot of accountants in the profession, I think, that really want to make sure that the products they're recommending are solid, that they really understand and feel comfortable saying it when they go to their clients' offices and say, "This is a product I back," because I can kind of explain it. Then if someone said, "Well, what's it do? Like, what is TSheets?" So I think that's kind of part of it. And then for your own internal use as well. So if there are people out there who want to use it internally, it's sort of a way to get your feet wet, get trained on it so that you know how to use it and the ins and the outs of it. But I'd say that, the purpose of the certification is that we want you to feel comfortable enough to refer it. So for those out there that don't feel like, I'm comfortable in this app world, in this cloud world, I really want to feel like I get this product before I'm telling my clients to go sign up for it. That's a primary focus, and we've actually seen a correlation between an accountant certifying in a product and then their ability to increase their referrals. So even if you feel pretty comfortable referring a product and you just kind of know the basics, you've maybe watched a couple videos on it or talked to somebody on the phone, there definitely is a correlation between understanding the product and then referring more clients to us because you understand more of the needs that the solutions that it gives your clients. So being able to take a webinar, take a test and say, "Oh, I didn't realize TSheets did this," or that actually brings to mind this client that I never would have thought of. So those are some reasons that we think it's important.
I got you. That makes sense.
I have a thought, Seth, just on that point, from out. I don't have much interaction with TSheets at the moment, Jessica, because I don't have any clients that need it, but I've always been, I watched a webinar maybe a year ago and thought it was really well done, and it seems to be really well run.
That's great.
Maybe I think some of it's coming to, like, we're used to this QBO certification. I just recertified yesterday, for instance. And I'm wondering if it's just more of a naming thing, and maybe it's not really a certification, but like, solution sets by TSheets, something where it's kind of makes it more fun and interesting, because has this heavy feeling to it.
Sure.
Just throwing that out there going forward. I think it's a great service to be able to offer training. It's kind of training on one sense if you're really going to be using it, and then there's sort of more of a, let's give you the fundamentals so that you know what the possibilities are for your clients. TSheets is going to implement it for you. So I'm just throwing that out there because it might help encourage people to participate more when you pull out, when you take that heaviness of a certification.
I love that idea. No, that's great. I love that.
So anyway,
What word did you use? What word did you use other than certification?
I was kind of like solution sets or something, like something like that. That's kind of like, here, we're bringing solutions for you and your clients, and that's there's something more along those lines, and then maybe even a training. But certification kind of, to me, it's different from QBO certification in my mind, but maybe there may be reasons to incorporate it within that certification program, but just think about it. Just throw it out there to think about it in a very
No, I love that idea. Thank
And
you.
Alexa has a great comment in the chat. She says, I struggled on my first real TSheets client to figure out integrating TSheets, Gusto, and QBO. No one seems to know the whole flow, just their piece of the puzzle. We need more integration help. So that's a good point when there's multiple products to be integrated, because obviously Gusto's doing the payroll, TSheets and QBO. They all need to talk to each other, and who needs to go first, right? You know, it's like when you're driving, whoever's to your right has the right of way kind of thing.
Right.
So if I have TSheets, Gusto, and QBO at the same intersection, who goes first, right? TSheets is gathering the time data. So it seems to me that needs to go first, push it into QBO, and then QBO is going to feed it to Gusto.
Yep.
That's, you know, that's the logic I always sort of employ. I kind of think through the operational side of it. And based on that, you can usually figure out the flow of information and how that needs to be. Kind of like when you have a third-party app that affects your banking, you know, like say Expensify or something where it's going to affect transactions that are hitting your bank account. You always sync the third-party app before you do the bank feeds. That way it's there to be matched up. If you do it the other way around, you're going to end up excluding things. So so that's kind of the flow. But it's a great point that Alexa brings up. Now I can see, and also I have the kind of brain where I like to think about these things and figure out the solutions. So I understand where somebody else, probably most other people, would rather just have somebody kind of hold their hand and explain it. I've also just been frankly spoiled because I'm just like, I don't have time, just go. Here's TSheets, just go. And my clients listen to me. They're just like, Seth, if you tell me I need TSheets, I'm going to go to TSheets. So my clients kind of spoil me that way because they trust what I recommend, you know. And honestly, if they come back with questions, usually I just tell them TSheets has amazing support. You're better off with them than me. So just go, just call them. I'm going to waste your time if you ask me these questions, you know.
It's so true. And I mean, even being like, I think that's so funny to say, but it actually gives you more time to focus on the things that you really love. Like,
well, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we're geeks about TSheets. I'm totally a TSheets nerd. I love solving problems when I was on customer support. I love like getting in there and helping a client figure out how it's going to work best. And there's definitely people out there, I'm sure, that love to do that with all products, but you have things you're passionate about that you love. And if I can take something off of your plate, like implementing a system, then you have time to either maybe get more clients because you're just saying, hey, like everybody just go and this is your tech stack and they're going to walk you through it. And then you can take on more or focus on the things that you like more. And that's where we get a lot of joy, is helping our partners do that.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't want to spend my time on this kind of, you know where I'd rather spend my time is if TSheets was in Zapier, I'd rather spend my time pulling data out of TSheets, pulling the time data so I can run reports and pivot tables and cut it up. I'm a data junkie. I like to play with data. That's what I want to spend my time doing. If there's a problem in terms of what setting do I need or where do I go to turn some feature on, that's what I'm like, call TSheets. I don't want to spend my time. So I sort of, you know, I stopped doing that stuff for clients a long time ago because just like you said, you know, there's other things I'd rather spend my time doing, which I believe will provide more value in terms of what I can provide to my clients. So that's kind of been my philosophy.
Absolutely.
So I noticed something on Twitter. By the way, I feel strongly, and I've been reading this out there in the social media world, that Twitter's probably making a comeback this year in terms of social media. They've recently rolled out some platform changes that will take effect over the next month, which will prevent people from spamming Twitter. I'm guilty of it, where I just schedule tweets and the same tweets go over and over again. That's not going to work anymore. You're going to actually need to take time and think and write stuff on Twitter. I noticed recently that you still have the ability to clock in and out via Twitter.
Yes, you do.
But it said to tweet at TSheets, but what do I tweet to them? How does it know what job I'm clocking in for? And it even said you could switch by tweeting at TSheets. What's the syntax of the tweet that I have to send in order for that to work?
I will have to send you guys a blog article on the exact wording because you have to have it typed exactly right in order to do it. But the reason that was built is actually for our international clients, specifically for people in other countries who maybe don't have a lot of data, but they have Twitter. They can log on to Twitter and they've already got Twitter on their phone and things like that. But yeah, there's definitely a specific syntax. I'm gonna have to send you a blog on what it is because it's like there's spaces you have to have, but but you can type in your job code. It's kind of like you're able to call a phone number to clock in and clock out. You can actually text as well. So we've got our app, we have a kiosk, and then we have the Twitter dial in and the text in as well. So, and then a computer. So
Now, is that still a thing? I know at one time people were concerned about using the mobile app and the data usage. I never think about these things because I've for years had an unlimited data plan. I'm blessed.
Right.
I have a good life. I can afford it.
Yeah.
But I realize when I see people complaining that not everybody is that lucky or fortunate. So is that still an issue about data usage? Have you done things to mitigate that? Or
Yeah, we actually just did a study with a lot of our clients. We sent out a survey to our customers and then to their employees. And what we found, because we'd always kind of been harping and battling this, like, well, employees won't want to use it. It's going to eat up their data. And there's definitely cases where they've called in and we've helped them with some settings. It really is built to use, I think it's like less than 1/10 of a gig, which I am not a phone tech expert, but from what I understand, that's very small. And then you're able to do certain settings. So there are some people that, realized, oh, I don't actually need to see my employee's location. We can turn that setting off. So we've definitely been working on that, just helping them. But we sent out this survey and got some really interesting results where it's actually the employer has this stigma where they think, oh, my employees won't use this. It's going to use their data. I don't think I'm going to recommend it. And then when we surveyed employees, very few. I shouldn't say none because you can never say that in a survey, right? There's always someone that answers, but yeah, very few were worried about data. Most of them were happy to use it, really excited about the fact that they'd feel confident in their timesheets and they'd have a record on their own phone because, as I'm sure everyone can remember from jobs that they had, right out of college or in high school, once you turn that timesheet in and it's with your boss, unless you wrote down all the hours too, you're just hoping that they read your handwriting right, that they didn't cheat you out of any hours. Hopefully nobody would do that, but there's definitely instances. So the survey results we got were super positive about using a mobile app. I like the security. I like being able to have my employer know where I am in case there's an emergency at work. It was all these things that we were like, oh, we thought those were the things that the employer wanted, but that the employee would say no. So there's definitely instances where, we have to help them figure out the settings that are best for them, which is why we've built that the kiosk, and then also being able to use that crew feature has been really helpful for employees. But it was super interesting results. We were not expecting that at all.
That's so interesting. That's really well covered territory in the book, The Lean Startup, where it talks about how they were trying to build a product. It was like a chat product. This was many years ago. And they thought they knew what customers wanted, and they ended up building a completely different product after surveying the customers and finding out that they hated what they had originally come up with and created. So it's so interesting. And he stresses the importance of how important it is as early as possible, whether it's a new product or a new feature of a product, to get customer feedback and find out, is this going to be something that they're going to care about? Is it going to really help them? Or maybe they're not care. By the way, quick side note, Alexa corrected me. It's actually TSheets to Gusto to QBO for payroll. TSheets collects the time data, then, because that's right, because then Gusto syncs it over to QBO. Gusto has to process the payroll information and then sync it to QBO. So I stand corrected. Thank you.
There you go. So do I.
Yeah. So, and that makes total sense, actually, now that you put it that way. And then the whole job costing problem is we still have to manually go back and recode it to break it up by job, which has been crazy because the data's there. We have it tracked by service code and by customer. So there's got to be a way to organize that through the expense accounts. I think the problem is really, I love QuickBooks. I love you into it, but I think the problem is on the QuickBooks side, because even though you run it through a service code, the problem is item-wise, it's all linked to a payroll item.
Right.
And so that prevents it from easily linking back to an expense account by job. It's just too many degrees of separation. If you understand how databases work and relational tables, then you can, I can sort of picture why it doesn't work that easily. It might seem like, oh, the information's there, it's really easy, but it's hard to relink the data the way we're trying to get them to do it. But essentially, I think that's where the problem lies. That's why it's not been something that just got solved 10 years ago.
Right.
How long has TSheets been around? When did TSheets start as a company?
So we've been around, so it's almost April. It's 12 years in April.
So 12 years from 2018. So you started in 2006?
Yep.
Oh, wow. So then, so you're already I think I met TSheets. It's funny because they just featured my ProAdvisor profile on Firm of the Future. And we talked about TSheets a lot. And because they were asking me a lot of questions about my experience and how I met. It was almost like, remember that show, How I Met Your Mother? I thought it was an episode of How I Met TSheets. Right? So
yes, you're let me tell you the story.
That was kind of it. I met TSheets at the Flag Accounting Tech Show at LAX Hilton, and I think it was 2012. I think that's what we said in the article. I think it was about then that Doug Sleater had invited me for the first time to sort of join the community, because up until then I was just kind of doing my own thing in my nerd cave, making videos and things. And he's like, come out of your cave and go. There's some people who would love to meet you, who love your videos, that kind of thing. And so I met
Out of your cave.
exhibit hall there. And I remember I met Jennifer Hetherington. I met Greta Jensen, is it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen her much. I know she still works there, but
yes, she does. Yep.
And of course Chelsea, I think, was there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she came. Anyway, I remember meeting all of you in the booth that year, and that was when I first got introduced to TSheets, and I saw you all in the black TSheets with the red.
Yeah. Oh man.
So I didn't realize you'd already been around for 6 years even by then. I thought you were fairly new as a company at that point. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. And Matt Rissell, our former CEO, now VP of the time tracking segment for Intuit. That's his new title. Or something like that. But there are lots of titles now to learn. But he publishes on Forbes, and he wrote this kind of whole story about how, I mean, I think a lot of people associate TSheets with Intuit, which makes sense. It's part of the reason why they acquired us. So I think a lot of times people associate like their first conference or the first QuickBooks Connect, because they think, oh, and that really it helped propel us into where we are now. Definitely that's our most important partnership now. I guess what would you call it now? Like I don't know how to say it, but at the time it was our most important partnership, and it really did fuel so much of our success. And so Matt kind of writes about that, how there was this 6 years of these 3 like go-to-market failures, and he didn't know if he was going to be able to do it. And then definitely one of the key learnings, it actually, the lean startup is testing. So starting something really small, test before you roll it out to everybody. And then finding that partnership with Intuit really did help us. So I think a lot of people have that misconception that we are newer than we are, which actually gives people a lot of peace of mind, since a lot of companies, they pop up every day. There's a new app in the App Center every day. So being able to say, actually, I've been in business for 12 years, we're not going anywhere, I think gives people a lot of peace of mind, again, when referring their clients to us, because they think, oh, good, you're not just going to close your virtual doors one day and I won't know what to do with all this time data that I don't have anymore. So.
Right. Yeah. It's funny. I remember many, many years ago, before there even was a TSheets, QuickBooks had a built-in time tracking system, and they divested it. And so now they've come full circle, by acquiring TSheets many, many years later, of course. But it's just interesting, like when you've been around this for as long as I have, that you can think back on the history and see the evolution of things, how things have changed, and how a lot of things do end up coming full circle. By the way, Virginia in the chat and the live Facebook feed commented, she says, whew, I thought I had to change my flow chart. So I almost screwed a lot of people up. Sorry. And thank you again, Alexa, for correcting me on that. That would be sad if all these people screwed up their flow charts because of something I said. Don't listen to me.
Don't listen to us.
I'm just an idiot with a webcam and a microphone.
It would be wonderful if Virginia Lee would share her flow chart.
If she has it in a form that can be shared, that would be awesome.
It's funny, Seth. It's Sarah. I was a customer of TSheets prior to even knowing Seth in 2012. I just found you guys and implemented on a construction company, not knowing what I know now. So I've enjoyed it. I love it.
Wow.
Send her a T-shirt or send her some socks or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Alexa
then I met
says
Seth, and then I learned it.
Wow.
Alexa says in the feed, she says it's really the T-sheets, shirts, and socks that sold us all.
It's true. We know where your guys' hearts are at. I have on my purple one today.
Oh, that is purple. I couldn't tell in the lighting. I thought it was black, but now that you say it and you back up into the light, come into the light, Jessica.
It comes in purple?
Yeah, this is a special one we did last year when Matt got diagnosed with cancer. We all did. This is the color of, I think it's, maybe it's, I don't remember what color. It's the color of cancer awareness for the cancer he had, and I don't want to misspeak on which particular one it was. But so we all did these purple T-sheets shirts and took a big picture while he was getting treated and sent it to him. And it totally, I think they all say different things on it. On my back it says "fight like a freight train," because that's one of his favorite expressions is like for a sale to close it like a freight train. So so we all did that, and then, so yeah, it's a special shirt.
Plus T-sheets, I've known that over the years that T-sheets has had some of their sort of special edition shirts that like only employees get. In fact, somebody once gave me one by accident, and I heard it really got some people upset at TSheets.
Oh, no.
I had gotten a shirt I wasn't supposed to get. Nobody who wasn't a TSheets employee was supposed to get it. Anyway, so but don't tell anyone.
Well, that's how the gold shirts are. I don't have a gold shirt. Those are just for our like Rockstar Pros, and I'm like, I love gold. I would love a gold shirt, but no.
Jessica, if I have an extra one, I'll send it to you.
Okay, please. Yeah, we can exchange.
Larry DeForest is asking in the live Facebook feed, is there a way to save this chat? Larry, you could bookmark this post on Facebook so that you have the permalink by clicking on its date stamp. And that works in any Facebook post, by the way. If you click on a post date stamp, it will take you to that post's permalink, and unless the owner deletes the post, it will always be there forever and ever for the rest of your life and your kids and your grandkids, and until Facebook becomes the next MySpace and goes away and turns into something nobody looks at anymore because something else has taken its place.
Or the data police come and delete it.
Why would they ever?
Aren't they? Isn't Facebook going through something now?
No.
About mining data?
I don't know. I mean, there's always stuff going on, but I think we've gotten well past the data mining issue. We all know they do it. But I think what people often misunderstand about that, and I don't want to get too far off topic on this, but I'll say this. People somehow, I think, get the impression that Facebook is like taking your specific information and showing it to others, and that's not what that means. That's not how that works. What they do is they analyze the data internally so that if I'm an advertiser and I want to target people who use TSheets with my ad, I can be specific about those demographics, and Facebook will know how to route the ad I place. I don't actually see anybody's data when I advertise on TSheets, and I think that's where people get up and are like, oh my God, they're giving my data away. They're going to give out my social security number. And it's like, no, calm down, keep calm. And Alexa says, I doubt Seth could sneak in as an employee. No, I would probably get recognized if I like try to sneak into the TSheets building in Idaho.
Everybody knows Seth.
It's true.
I would probably need some significant plastic surgery or something to really be disguised, or a mask, but then the mask might draw attention to me. But anyway, so real quick, back on the data mining issue. Yeah, I'm sure there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be people complaining about what they're doing with the data. But as quick as we complain, what that means is we're forgetting that we've chosen to give our data over to these services, right? There's a simple answer is just don't take an account. Right?
It was the apps. It was the apps linking with Facebook that are the problem, because you blow past the questions or you don't realize what you're giving away, and sometimes they're taking more than they say they're taking. So I think that's the issue. But
yeah, I mean, the moral of the story on all this stuff to me is if you're worried about that, then don't put it out there. Period. Just keep it guarded. Right? Don't put something out there that you're worried about. Period. Yeah. And no matter how much somebody promises you that your data is protected, just assume it isn't. Because no matter how much people, I mean, look, Equifax had a data breach. They're the ones who are supposed to be charged with protecting our data more than just about anybody else out there. Was it Equifax or Experian? It was one of the big credit monitoring services that had a data breach. You'd hope that they, of all people, would not have a data breach. Is TSheets secure?
I know. Yes, it is. It is. We do have data centers in 5 or 6 different locations throughout the state, so it's not all in one spot, which also helps with our uptimes as well, but it is secure.
Right. And all the data centers are in the U.S., which, by the way, interesting fact, is an issue because if you put data centers in Canada, there's very specific implications about that because there's different rules.
Right.
So like Google obviously has data centers all over the world. But that's because they can afford to pay for whatever infrastructure they need to make sure that any data that shouldn't leave U.S. territory doesn't, and so on. And so forth. So anyway, enough of that. That's boring. Jessica, do you have anything you can share with us? Maybe on screen?
Yeah.
Let's look at TSheets, what it looks like today. We've seen what it was like, what happened. Let's see what it's like today.
Okay, let me see if I can share my screen.
Just move your mouse around on the screen. You'll see a green button that says share screen.
Oh. I don't actually know. It's like grayed out for me, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on a second.
Well, maybe let me click back to meeting. No? Oh, there it is. I found it. Sorry.
Okay. No worries.
Technology and we don't
You don't play well together?
play well together always, which is sad since I do work for a technology company, but Okay, so can everybody see my TSheets account?
We most certainly can.
Great. So I'm sure a lot of you are pretty familiar, so I don't want to, do like a traditional, like high level demo for you. Has everyone seen our scheduling, or most people have? You seen our scheduling yet?
Show it to us, because I
Okay.
bet you some people haven't, because I know
Great.
that's newer. I know it's not brand new, but it's newer.
Yeah, it's definitely newer. So, and this is a newer demo account too. I wanted a nice fresh one for you guys so we can actually just walk through this all together. So this is our schedule in TSheets, and it's built to operate in two primary ways. One is for shift-based scheduling, and the other would be for job-based scheduling, which, shift-based scheduling, of course, might be like a coffee shop and needing coverage throughout the day. So making sure that from when, the store opens to when it's closed, you've got employees there. And then the job scheduling is more like service-based industries, landscaping, construction, catering, even like saying, I've got this customer, they need this job to happen at this time, and then being able to have your employees see that. So these are all my employees here on the left. You'll notice there's a green dot. These are the employees that are currently on the clock right now. So that just kind of lets me know as I'm building my schedule, if I was trying to build something out for maybe today, I'd be able to look and say, okay, these people are already on the clock, so they should be able to do this, or maybe I need to call someone else since they're already working. And then this is actually adds up the hours you've scheduled those employees for per employee, and then the zeros across under here are the hours per day that you've scheduled. So let's just build a shift here first. I'm going to schedule Charlotte for a shift today. All I do is click in the box next to her name. I can make this a repeating shift. I can also build like templates and things if I wanted, but just to give you a little bit of the basics, I can make this repeating or just a single time. So I'm going to say, I want to schedule her at 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. tonight. I can title the shift anything I'd like. So I always have to be careful on typing shift. I'm always like, oh, shift. And saying shift, I'm like, okay, make sure you say it right. And then I can pick whatever color I want. So these
Shift happens.
Exactly. Shifts happen. So we've got so many different colors in here. They've actually added some new ones, which this is my favorite color at the moment, this like dusty rose color. So I'm going to use that one. But this color, the colors you could use, if you've got different locations, maybe you have a color per location, color per employee, color per customer, color per type of work they're doing. Our clients use this in a lot of different ways, but I'm just going to pick a customer or a color there. And then I can actually assign this to multiple employees. So if there's other employees who are going to work with Charlotte, I can do that at once. And if this is a shift, I'm not going to actually select a customer, because let's assume this is my coffee shop and she's going to work this sort of afternoon to evening shift. Location is actually a really neat feature. So I can type in an address and it's going to pull up different addresses here based on where I'm at in the world. This actually links with Google Maps. So if I pull up this on my phone, so as an employee, let's say I'm that employee and I get this notification that a shift has been assigned to me, and we have 3 coffee shops and I'm not sure which one I'm working at, or maybe I've never been to that one before, or I'm terrible with directions like myself and I just want to make sure I know where I'm going. You can just open up your schedule right on the TSheets app, and then you can click on that, and it's going to give you driving directions via Google Maps. So really neat.
This is all in the mobile app, obviously, too, right?
Yep, exactly. And then notes, I can leave, any notes for my employee that I want, maybe things they need to accomplish that day, maybe an order that a customer is going to come pick in, cleaning tasks that need to happen. So I can leave any notes here. And then what I can do is I can actually save this as a draft, or I can publish it. So when I save it as a draft, it just lets me know, it kind of fills it in with this white area, so I know it's not official, but it's already got the hours over there, how many hours I've scheduled her total. And then for the week, which as you can imagine, as you build your schedule out more and more, this is really nice to make sure you're not scheduling your employees for overtime. Just like everywhere else in TSheets, it turns bright red when you do. So as you're building out your schedule, we keep you updated live on, hey, you just scheduled Charlotte for 42 hours and now it's in bright red and overtime, and you can make changes so you're not scheduling out overtime, which for small business owners is huge. So I can do that. And then once I've built out my schedule, I just hit publish. As soon as I hit publish, it sends a notification to my employee. So until then, they don't get notified of that. It's just after it's actually published, which is very nice. So as I'm building my schedule, making changes and additions to it, I don't have to worry that they're going to get confused and inundated with all the different shifts that I've possibly assigned to them. I just publish it once I'm done. And then it just turns that pink color, and I know that it's good to go.
And if I've got this schedule done, is there a way to just kind of automatically drop it into an actual time record? So I can say, yes, they worked this shift. This is exactly when they started and finished. Just drop it in rather than having to clock in and out. Is there a way to do that?
So the employer can't do that, but the employee can clock in from their schedule. So let me actually, I have my mobile app with me, and I was going to say, which user am I logged in as? I'll actually schedule myself for a shift and show you guys what that looks like. Hopefully, you know, if the technology gods are with me and the internet gods. But so let's do a job shift, so job schedules. Let's say I'm a plumber, so leaky faucet.
By the way, quick shout out to my friend Alex Mangano. He's an old high school friend I haven't talked to in ages, and I noticed he joined the live Facebook.
Oh,
so hi, Alex. We went to
cool.
high school together, and he became a CPA, coincidentally, just like I became an accountant. He did, but he's like a real accountant. I'm just, like I say, an idiot with a webcam and a microphone. So anyway.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. No, you are real. Okay, and then I'm going to leave some notes. Hi, Seth. And then I'm going to publish this shift to myself. And then let's see here. So then I'll just kind of hold my phone up, turn the brightness up so you guys can see it. So then on my schedule, let me give it a little time to sync up. Maybe we'll give it like a minute or two just in case. Or I can sync my app and let's see if it'll pop over. But essentially, once I schedule that, the employee, so here, I don't know if you guys can see that, is my mobile phone. Can you see that okay? Not really.
It's well, because it's on the smaller screen because your screen is being shared, so your camera renders.
Oh.
But you know what? Just take a screenshot and send it to me, and I'll include it when I post this on the website.
So basically, my shift showed up in real time. So I see that I have a shift assigned to me, and then when I click on that shift, there's actually a clock in button right there. So as an employee, I don't have to fill in the customer, for example, or fill in even it'll put the real time in. So if I clocked in like 5 minutes early, it'll actually put that real time in. It won't just clock me in at the scheduled time unless I set up there are settings where you can do that, but it'll fill in all that information for the employee. So if a customer maybe has, or a small business has concerns of my employee's not going to remember which job I assigned them to and which task that they were working on, if that's all filled out by the office manager or the business owner and they've got that on the schedule, the employee just hits clock in and all that data fills in on their time card for them.
Got it.
So that's pretty nice for those employees that just kind of want to get to work and get going and don't want to worry about all those things. And then the only other thing I wanted to show you on the schedule specifically is that you can view it by customer as well. So if you wanted to, so for like job purposes, if you wanted to just look at how many hours did I schedule per customer this week, you can view it that way too. And then this does link up with Google Calendars, Outlook, iCalendar. So you can send all this data right to one of those calendars you're already using and it will show up there.
Great.
So that is our scheduling, yeah. Oh, sorry.
So no, that's okay. So a couple of questions from the chat, and then I want to look at reports because Alexa was asking about reports. So we'll come to that in a minute, and we'll end with that actually. So Marriott in the chat is asking questions. She says, to be clear, do clients only get TSheets support if they're working with a TSheets Pro, or do they get, or if they're not and they just call TSheets and say we need TSheets, do they get their own support?
Yep, everybody gets free unlimited support. So if it's a client that's not, or a customer of ours that's not connected to an accounting professional, they'll still get the same support as a client that's connected to the accounting professional. The difference with that is that with the partnership with the accounting professional, of course, they have you, and they usually have a dedicated rep. They kind of know who they're talking to during that process. So it's an elevated version of support, but I don't even like to say that because I do feel like our support is just A+ across the board, regardless of which avenue you found us through. But being able to partner with you and saying like, hey, I've got this question, emailing you, and then you knowing I'm going to email Danny because he's my account rep and I know he'll be able to answer this question. I think that's where the real benefit comes, but it is all free regardless of how you found us. Right.
So stellar support in any case, but even a little bit better when you have a TSheets Pro in the mix.
Exactly.
Next question on the scheduling. So would you use this scheduled feature versus manually turning on the time clock? It sounds like you could, but you don't have to, right?
Yeah, you don't have to. It's just if if scheduling is going to be a benefit to the business, and it makes sense for in most cases, if you're tracking time, you most likely have to schedule that time. You know, if you showed up for a job, you probably knew what time you're supposed to show up. And so it works out that way. And the employee, the clocking in from the schedule is really helpful. But even if it's for maybe you're not even clocking in and clocking out, but you want to build out the schedule just to know from a customer standpoint, how many hours are we planning on working for that customer? So you can even use that. And then even if you're entering your time in after the fact, maybe you've got salaried employees, you can sort of take a look at here's what we thought we would do and here's what we actually did. And then the other thing it does is it does do tardy reports, or tardy, I learned in Australia, that's not the word they were using. Everyone was laughing at me. So I guess being late. Tardy is not a word that everybody uses, but it is a late report. So if you wanted to see, for example, like I scheduled my employees from this time to this time, this time to this time, and what did they actually work? So that's great insight. For example, if you're realizing, wow, I'm scheduling my employees to work a job that's going to take 8 hours and it's consistently taking them about 6, that's great insight for you to know, oh, I can maybe schedule them for 6 and then they have a little more time than I thought that they would. Kind of build that in to do more things. So that's one there. And even on the other hand, wow, this is taking my employees so much longer than I thought it would. You know, why does it take Jessica twice as long to do this thing that it takes Seth, 20 minutes to do? Why is it taking her twice as long? And then you can hopefully have that conversation with your employee, figure out what's holding them up. And then this Tardies report will let you know how many times an employee's clocked in late to work. So a couple features there. Yeah.
Now, I know over to Alexa's question, and it's been a while for me, but I remember a couple years back, I did a webinar with you guys where I want to say it was either the approvals report or the payroll report that I was able to dump into a CSV file so that I could quickly run pivot tables showing, different ways of looking at the time entries, who worked, which hours, and so on. So show us, if you can, where's the best report to go where I could get a report that shows me all of my employees, all the time records, and quickly dump it into a CSV? Because this has tremendous value, everyone, because if you know how to do what now Jessica is going to show us how to do, then you can use Transaction Pro Importer or a number of other things out there to quickly get data imported wherever you need it. So let's take a look at that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, Jessica, this is Mariette. I just had a quick follow-up. Thanks, Seth, for mentioning those. Is there any, I don't know if you said it already, I don't think I heard it, but integrations, like I really love that scheduling feature. It's super awesome. Is there an integration from a calendar scheduling app into that? So let's say I scheduled everything through Calendly, and then Calendly would capture it into that scheduling feature, and then it'd go on from there. Do you have something like that?
We don't, and that's one of the ways I'd love to see. I know Seth asked at the beginning of the hour kind of where I'd love to see us go, and that's a place I know we've heard a lot of feedback, and I'd love to see is being able to have an online scheduler booker that put that automatically on the schedule. TSheets, as it kind of stands, works as we push data out, but we don't take data in terms of scheduling and time data. Actually, you can't really push time data into TSheets. We push it out. So that's just how our system is built. But I would love to see us expand and sort of think big on, if I'm an accountant and I want to be able to have my Calendly link on my website, and when those get scheduled, have that on my TSheets schedule. That's something I'd love to see us go. But as of now, not yet.
That would also be another great job for Zapier, because Zapier integrates with all these time tracking or scheduling apps like Acuity and Schedule Once and so on. So again, if TSheets was in Zapier's API, then these kinds of integrations would be easy to set up that way too.
Oh, awesome.
Another plug for Zapier. All right, let's look at some reports.
Okay. Yeah, let me quickly show you. So all of our reports can be downloaded into CSV, so that does make it really easy. But if you do run this payroll report, let's see. I'll be able to run it. Maybe I need to sign into a different account. Oh, well, I guess it has to ask me a couple questions because it needs to know. Let's just pick every 2 weeks. Sure, that sounds great.
Now, bear in mind, if you're doing a payroll report, it's only going to show approved time, correct? If there's any time that hasn't been approved yet, I don't think it will show up in the payroll report.
That's actually not true. So we'll show all the time. So there's the approvals report, which you can run for a date range. Let's run it for just a couple weeks ago. And this will give you all of your time data. And you can view that here. And then from here, you can approve it. There's actually even a better way to do this. And if I have time, I'll show you guys that now that we're inside of QuickBooks Online, that lives inside of there. But there is this approvals report. But no, all of the time will show up on the payroll report. So let's run it for that same date range. And so there's all my time here. Nobody hit overtime because I didn't actually turn overtime on just now when I was quickly clicking through those settings. But essentially, here's all my hours. I can click on an employee and see where they worked. So I can see each of their clock in, clock out dates. I can edit the time from here if I need to. I can delete a timesheet. So that's kind of where, if a timesheet's not correct, we're going to pull it all in for you so that you can look at it. And then from here, you can edit the time, delete the time, or view the GPS location. Stuff that you're probably thinking is previously, if you didn't approve the time, it wouldn't go into QuickBooks. But now that we're built inside of it, it's all actually in there and you can do the approvals right from there. But
Okay.
I know this is what you were asking for. So here's all my hours my employees worked for a particular date range, and then here I can download this.
Now, what's the difference between that download and there's another one further down? That would be just for Alex McDonald if I click.
That's exactly right.
Further back up where it says download and .csv. Okay, so be aware of that, folks. There's two different download options. One is just to download what's up in that view. The other one is to download the whole report.
That's exactly right. So this one is for a particular employee. This one is going to be all the hours worked here. And that's just going to download into either Excel or Google Docs, whatever your Google Sheets. And then from there, you can use it to do whatever you need with that data. And then if I can quickly, I know I've got 1 minute, but if I sign back in.
We can go over by a couple minutes. It's
okay.
Fine. People can catch the recording later if you need to go.
Perfect. If I sign into my QuickBooks Online account, what I was sort of hinting at is that now approvals live right inside of here. So there's this approve time option. And then once that loads, what I can do is, again, pick the exact same date range, which is already selected. And then here's all that data. So I can, find, again, my employee, see all of the hours that they tracked. The overtime is set up over here. So that's where you can really see that overtime in bright red. I can click on a timesheet if I need to. And again, I can edit from here. I can change the customer from here. So if my employee chose the wrong customer, I can see their geolocation from here. So all the data that you used to have to go into TSheets to see and then run an approvals report and then send it over into QuickBooks, you can now actually do that right from here. So it's really become where TSheets is the employees tool. They're going to be using that. But if you wanted to run your business just out of QuickBooks Online, aside, I guess, if you were doing the scheduling, you would do that in TSheets. But in terms of reports and payroll, invoicing, editing time, managing that data, you can do it all from within QuickBooks. You can approve it here, just like you would in TSheets. And then from here, once you've approved it, you can either accept this time data and run payroll, or you can accept it and create an invoice. And that'll just take you to the payroll section in QuickBooks or the invoicing section in QuickBooks.
Awesome. So there you have it. That's how you would get data quickly downloaded into Excel or CSV, is using those download features so that you can do reports. Is there a way to just like wipe my TSheets account? Marietta is asking if we wanted to clear up our TSheets account from scratch, clean slate. Is there an option that just says wipe all the time data and start over?
There's not. We keep your data even if you were to close the account. We do keep record of it, since a lot of, I think it's a regulation. You have to have time data for 7 years. So we don't wipe it, but you can always, close an account and start a new one.
Yeah, just start a new company. That would be the answer to that one.
Yep.
And Sarah's asking, what about management who just needs to allocate their 8 hours at the end of the day to a class on customer code?
Sure.
I imagine you would do that in QBO now, right?
You can do that in QBO. You can do it in here. So if you like coming into TSheets, or maybe you have a customer who they don't want all their employees logging into QuickBooks, even though there are things in place to make sure that they're not seeing what they don't need. There's still kind of that, I don't want them logging into my QuickBooks account. So actually, if you come to this time entries section, we have a manual time card. So as an employee, I could come in here every day, and let's just go back like a couple weeks so that it's a totally blank one. So I can just choose a customer and then put my 8 hours, across the board if I worked on that same customer all week long. So this is where I could do that. I can leave notes again. And if this
can I pick a class code and
yes. My demo account doesn't have invoice or service items and classes turned on right now, but if it did, those would be down here in the bottom left, and you'd be able to choose those specific to the time as well.
Right.
Jessica.
So you click on the actual time entry where she's got the 8 hours, and then below would appear the area where you would assign the class to that particular time entry. So it's entry by entry that you assign that stuff. We're getting a lot of Facebook Live love from that. A lot of people like that.
Jessica, this is the other Sarah. Did you talk about
Sarah.
the reoccurring on the schedule? Because I know my clients love the duplicate for those employees that stay. That's kind of a cool feature.
Yeah,
so you don't have to redo it.
Let me see if I can jump to that really quickly here. So essentially you can do a repeating shift if you wanted to do something like that. Let's go back to the employee view. So I can either do a repeating shift, so where I just click and click on this repeat button, and then I can choose, how often it repeats, which day of the week. So if it repeats every day or maybe it repeats every Thursday, and then I can put an end date as well. And that's going to make it for, if I assigned that to multiple employees, it would make it for all those employees or just the one. And then there's also a way to build out templates, and that is here. Yep. So basically if you built out a week on your schedule and said this is like trying to think of an example. This is like home healthcare uses this. Like this is kind of what 1 week looks like for us, and we've got a few different variances on what our weeks might look like for a scheduling perspective. But this is like, week A. This is an example. I can save this as a template, and then that template will be available. So if I wanted to just plug that template onto whatever week I wanted, that way if it's not like a consistent repeat, but you've got these different templates you might need to use, and then you can just plug that template into the week as you need it.
Can you do the manual timesheet as a template?
That you cannot, from what I remember, and they might have changed that, but this does
or can you copy week. The week before maybe? And
you can do that. Yep, you can copy the
That'll work. Okay.
Yeah. So, and you can even do like copy the timesheets exactly, or just the customers. So if you worked different hours, but you always work on those same 3 customers, for example, you can do that.
That's actually really cool, because normally I would expect the option to just be copy the whole timesheet over. But the fact that you can just copy the customers is
that's
smart.
Great for nonprofits, because
good.
Managers will work on the same grants, That's awesome. Okay.
Cool. All right. We've got a little overtime. I don't want to hold people hostage. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking out the time. Was really excited when you guys announced the merger with Intuit. And I was really excited and honored that I was given the opportunity to interview Matt. For those of you who watch, it's on betweenwellandmain.com. You'll see the interview I did with Matt on the day that the news broke. I was actually at QuickBooks Connect Canada. I was at QuickBooks Connect in Toronto when that happened, and I left the keynote to go run an interview with Matt right there in the lobby of the convention center, which was a lot of fun. A little bit of background noise on it, but it was a great interview. It was great to catch Matt right in that moment. So go on to betweenwellandmain.com and you can catch that interview. Couple of housekeeping things. This recording will be up on the website tomorrow, but of course the Facebook live broadcast is already there now, so you can watch the replay anytime. It's bookmarked in Between Wall and Main Strategy Forum, the Facebook group, so you can go there and watch it, comment on it. Don't forget to like things. Don't forget to subscribe. In the unlikely event that you haven't already signed up for a TSheets account, get with me. I'll give you my affiliate link so that the TSheets will know that you came by way of me, especially if it was because of this show. I would hope that you would want them to know that. And then next week, we have Kate Erickson from Entrepreneur on Fire, which is one of the biggest podcasts for entrepreneurs out there. So spend the next week, check out a few of their podcasts, and then we're going to talk with Kate Erickson, who is, she's not exactly a co-host, but she works with John Dumas on that podcast. She's going to be our guest next week, and she's going to come and she's going to tell us all about Entrepreneurs on Fire, what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how they've become one of the most successful podcasts on the internet. Thanks again, Jessica.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth. Thanks for the opportunity. Good to see everybody. Have a good Friday.
See you all real soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.